Falling on your feet, do you finally see what you're missing? You're just one lost soul here to break the mold. When you see me, do you believe in a higher love? Somebody let the sun come up again. What you need is the heat of the summer. Lost your mind, need the light to recover. I swear we're headed on the better days, and the sun will come up again. 'Cause you brought me the sun.
Welcome to Wild of the World, and you're still joining our world trip while we are in the USA,
where we took our first camper through Florida to see some crocs and bounty beaches. And then we made a second camper van road trip through Nevada, Utah and Arizona in the Wild Wild West.
but in the next episode we're gonna pick up a new camper van. So let's make another road trip, and this time we're going to Wyoming, Idaho and Montana.
Especially Yellowstone has been on the top of our bucket list for years.
Well, good morning guys. We drove about 2 hours from Salt Lake City, and then there was so much snow and rain and cold that we decided to stop at a McDonald's, our best friends when we're traveling. And there was a play place, so Jens was playing, it was warm, we had some internet, I could do some work. So we ended up staying the night there, not inside, but of course here. Got some coffee and let's go back on the road to find some nature.
And who would have thought we would travel through Paris?
The first stop that we make is on the border of Utah and Idaho. We just drove into the other state. It's Bear Lake. And if you see this lake, it's so blue that you almost think that you're in the Caribbean. But we're actually in the cold.
Bear Lake is totally worth the stop, especially because it's on the way. Through Idaho we drive to Montana, where we see the first snowy tops of the Rocky Mountains.
This is the good life, guys. We're in Jackson, Wyoming in a city park, making some dinner, having a beer. And this is the perfect place to go to national parks like Yellowstone and Grand Teton. So we're gonna do that the coming days. But for now, let's just relax in the sun, because at night it will be freezing again. Hey, what you cooking?
Pasta di Suzy.
With bananas? Gross. From Jackson we literally drive into the wild.
Oh guys, it's still so early, but we got into Grand Teton National Park to see the sunrise and to catch a clear glimpse on the mountains behind me, because this is Grand Teton. And on the parking lot we already see a lot of wild animals, like some geese, and I saw a ferret. And on the way over here we saw some reindeer or caribou and a moose. So yeah, this is a good beginning of my day. Little cold.
Spotting animals here is super easy. In the months April and May they're just out of hibernation, so they're looking for food. And also the pine forest itself is pretty amazing. OMG, do they have bears here?
We stopped at Lake Jenny for a nice walk, And just around the corner, my dream came true, because on my bucket list was seeing bears in the wild. And we saw 3 of them, a mother with 2 cubs. So just around the corner here, we saw some other animals, a frozen lake, and yeah, this is a nice walk, look.
How awesome is this? They seem to be doing the hiking trail. We follow their steps and continue our walk through Winter Wonderland. The northern pass between Grand Teton and Yellowstone only opens in the summer, so we drive back to Jackson Hole to warm up in the local pub. Oh, and we still had to do some laundry anyway. This time we spent the night in the village called West Yellowstone.
From Grand Teton we drive up north for about 2.5 hours to find ourselves in yet another wonder of nature. One of the biggest in America and maybe in the whole world, because this is Yellowstone. Check this out!
Through hundreds of bisons we hop along all the sites in Yellowstone to see boiling mud pools, geysers and colorful springs.
Our next stop is at the Grand Prismatic Spring, and this is one of the true highlights in Yellowstone. And earlier on we already saw some bisons crossing the parking lot, so they're going into the colored lakes, and this will give me some beautiful images. And so we're waiting for the main attraction, which is of course Old Faithful Geyser, which goes off every hour, and you can look up the times in the visitor center, but I think we'll have to wait for another half an hour here.
So you'll see at the visitor center that this geyser is running a tight schedule. Another wonder of Mother Nature. We drive on to the Black Sand and Biscuit Basin. The colorful artist paint pots are very interesting as well. Suddenly we see movement in the woods and hit the brakes. And we see a lonely male grizzly.
In 2016 we paid a visit to the Grand Canyon, one of the biggest landmarks in America. And this time we would also like to see a Grand Canyon. And we found one, the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. It's equally pretty, especially with the snow.
In this odd landscape we see yet another family of bears.
This morning we entered Yellowstone through the west gate, and now we have our final stop way in the north, the Mammoth Springs. And on the way we saw the bisons, we saw some deer, and we saw a bear. We saw everything in Yellowstone and I really loved it. It was more than I could have expected in my dreams. Yellowstone, guys.
We were actually so intrigued by Yellowstone that we decided to spend another day here. And we see even more animals. And then again, the Mammoth Springs are too beautiful to skip anyway. And also we see these waterfalls and wolves.
We're heading up north through the United States in the state of Montana, and we're getting closer to Glacier National Park and the border with Canada. But first we stop in Great Falls, a little town at the Missouri River.
The big river that flows all the way from west to east.
And there are some other sights to see here.
As it turns out, the Roe River is the shortest in all of the US. After only about 200 feet it flows right into the Missouri. We drive along the Missouri for a while and find out why this place is called Great Falls.
We're almost there, guys. I can see the snowy mountaintops of Glacier National Park in front of me. Sunset's going on over there. I've got a pizza for on the way, and we're almost there. Oh, this is so awesome. It was like minus something degrees, freezing outside. We slept like a baby with the heater on, and it's snowing. Here in Glacier National Park, the coldest part of our journey, it's snowing.
Oh my God.
We drive into Glacier National Park, and all around us is the cold winter landscape of the majestic Rocky Mountains.
I've been here before, but I have to stay afloat. It's not easy. Be a person you don't want. Can somebody?
I've put on a nice warm hat because it's freezing. We were driving over the going to the sun road, but it turned out to be the driving through the snow and fog road because it's cold, it's snowing, and there's a lot of fog. I'm standing here at St. Mary Lake, and it seems that this is as far as we can drive because they're closing the roads because of the snow. So we're gonna check out if the weather is gonna clear up a little bit, and otherwise, this is it, guys. Glacier.
Just with myself. I don't wanna grow. The things I left behind me. I don't wanna grow. Just with myself. I don't wanna grow. The things I left behind me. Just with behind me. Just with behind me.
We're already driving back to Salt Lake City, and on the way we make a couple of nice stops. With all this geothermal activity going on, we thought it would be nice to visit some hot springs. And where better to do this than in Yellowstone National Park? Today we're at Yellowstone Hot Springs.
A day of boiling in this sweet Yellowstone soup only cost us about $15 a person. And Jens is free, though he seems to be having the most fun.
Where's my shy head? Is this called living? Look behind. I don't know. Where's the life at? Where's my shy head? Is this called living?
Oh, and what you really have to try is to go into the coldest bath and then quickly back to the hot one. It's supposed to be really good for your body and mind.
I don't wanna grow. The things I left behind me.
That's really something I could recommend here at Yellowstone, the hot springs. Sun is shining, I grabbed a beer, waiting for Susan Jens to finish. Life is good here in Yellowstone.
On the way back, we pay a quick visit to the iconic town of Idaho Falls.
It's time to finish this road trip. We're in the final destination, Salt Lake City, the capital of Utah, a big city between the Rocky Mountains and a beautiful location. So let's see some sights, have a little stroll around, and it's almost summer here, about 30 degrees Celsius. In the center of Salt Lake City you'll find Temple Square. It's the heart where all the beautiful buildings and the most famous landmarks are. It's also the busiest place in Utah because there's more people here every day than in all the national parks. Wow!
I can also recommend a walk up to Capitol Hill, and not just for the architecture, but for the view as well.
It's over, guys. We're in the park in Salt Lake City, the sun is shining. We're gonna drop off the camper van, have our last supper. We got some beers and a chicken from the Walmart. So I say cheers.
Cheers.
And we're going to
Mexico.
Mexico. Here we come, baby.
We're having some friends over from the Netherlands for twice as much fun on a new adventure. I'll see you then, and adios!